What up? It's your boy Blue. He's coming at you with episode 20 of the Between the Buns podcast. I'm with my co-host, my buddy, my brother, Hype Beast Burger. What's up, my guy?
What it do, man? What's happening with you, brother? Happy Easter. Happy belated Easter, I should say.
Yeah. Happy belated Easter, man. How was the holiday weekend for you?
Bros, filled with good vibes, chilling, man. Kicked it off Friday. Had a well-deserved day off on Friday. So me and the fam just kicked it, man. We had a few little fun activities for the girls, man. I came across this video on Instagram, maybe it was Facebook, where you plant jelly beans on Good Friday, and then on Easter Sunday, a lollipop grows. So we planted some jelly beans. The girls loved it. They were really excited. Sunday was just filled with sugar. You know what I mean? Filled with sugar and food, man. We went coastal southeast, with the cuisine, so far from the traditional eatery experience that you would typically have on Easter, man. We went with some casseroles and we did shrimp and grits. So it was fire, man. It was a good time, man. How was yours?
That's good. That sounds like a good, very simple weekend, man, because mine was just busy beyond belief, man.
Yeah.
It started Thursday, actually. Thursday, I actually went downtown to start promoting a soon-to-be event on Mother's Day weekend called Mimosa and Chill. It's going to be a 2-part event from the morning and then in the evening in Wall Street, downtown Orlando. So me and a couple of local influencers came together and got some content. I'm going to be throwing that together. Actually tried a burger that night. Was all right, pretty solid. And then Friday, I celebrated my cousin's husband's birthday. We went to a cigar lounge, black-owned cigar lounge called the Cigar Box out in the Orlando neighborhood near Belle Isle, actually prestigious neighborhood. And it was a good vibe, man. It was the first time I've seen a cigar lounge serve food. I don't know if you've ever seen.
Nah, man. Well, I'll take that back, man. I randomly ran across one, man. So a few weeks ago when I was in DC, I experienced African cuisine for the first time. And so walking back to my hotel, me and a colleague, we actually stumbled across a vibe that looked so incredible. And I wanted to go so bad, but I just knew it wasn't my colleague's cup of tea. She wasn't really into that. Plus, she has a very strict bedtime. So I was like, whatever, I'll just pop back out. But I ended up not going back. But they actually served food. They had a whole bar area. They had a separate lounge area to kind of isolate the smokers from the actual just drinkers, or maybe the people that were just consuming food. But it looked incredible, man. I can't think of the name of the place, but it was in DC, in the Noma, DC area. I'll have to get back to you on that. But tell me about this place, man. It sounds lit, man. And it's black owned. That sounds even more incredible.
Yeah. So it's been around about a good year. And it's not too big, but it has a bunch of lounge chairs, low tables. They have a little L-shaped bar. Cigar room is to the left. They keep the doors open so it doesn't get too smoky, but they had a DJ on this night and a good full bar, beer, wine, liquor, and even the cigar room doesn't smell too smoky. So they try to keep it a good balance, but it's a good vibe of local people in there. And I was going to get content of just the atmosphere, but once I saw the food, I was like, no, I got to come back and get content of the food and the place. Sure. So I just put a quick post advertising a black-owned cigar lounge in the town. And then we went to go get hookah at another place. And then Saturday, we went to a Cuban restaurant at the Four Seasons Orlando. I used to work there years ago, and I put my cousin and her husband onto it. Now it's one of his favorite places. The food menu changed a bit. They had a really good burger when I worked there called the Plancha Burger. It was 60% beef, 40% chorizo, and it had all the fixings on there. And it was one of the best burgers I've had, like how they combined everything. Now they got something else where it's just a regular beef patty, and they got some mushrooms, some leaves, and the highlight though was his whiskey glaze. This shot that burger up. So I'm going to be posting about that soon. Then Saturday night, I went to go see Sinners.
Oh man,
If
Yo,
you haven't seen
that film. First off, I saw a preview of it maybe a month or so ago. I knew it was going to be lit. First off, I feel like that combination of what's the director?
Ryan Coogler.
Coogler, him with Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, like them two together, man. They don't do nothing but excellence, man. So I knew it was going to be a hit, man. It looked like a thriller. It looked a little scary, like it had a little bit of horror incorporated with it. So I don't know what the whole scheme of the whole film was, but I did come across a video of what's his name,
Coogler, Ryan Coogler.
His whole breakdown of how he shot this film, man, it just looked like such an articulate young black man that just is changing the whole game of film. And I just recently came across a headline of a lot of Hollywood execs shaking in their boots a little bit because of how he structured his contract in this deal to put this film together, man. He's actually, fun fact, he's going to get all full ownership of that film back after 25 years, every dollar. So that's all coming back to him. And
I didn't know that.
He's getting the first dollar of everything that it makes right now as it launches. So like that's one intelligent young brother right there, man. So how was that film without spoilers? Let me know.
I won't spoil it for you at all. All I want to say is that it was the best cinematic experience I've had in a long time, because it is a movie you got to experience in theaters, not just for the visuals, but the sound, the music, the tone. Nothing's going to prepare you for this movie. And I mean that in the best way, because I was a couple of days late and I was seeing people online talk about it without spoiling it. And I was like, no, I got to see this movie. I got to see it. And now that I've seen it and I'm seeing people talk about it, I want to see it a second time because there's so much symbolism and metaphorical stuff in it. That's all I want to say.
I was telling my wife exactly that. But to your point of how the whole experience was way more, like heightened by being in theaters. He actually broke down some of the components. Like if you have a typical theater, you're going to get a good experience. But as far as like the film that he used,
he used IMAX cameras.
Yeah, he was like, if you happen to have an IMAX situation in your community, that's going to give you a 10x experience. So like, I need to look it up, man. I'm sure there's something around Tampa somewhere that I can check out.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was talking to Eddie about it, because Eddie saw it Thursday night, and shout out to the boy Gimme Bites. He said that Ryan Coogler wanted the film to be like on a 75 millimeter screen, something like that. And I was thinking, oh, okay, we got that in Orlando. We got the IMAX. And Eddie said he looked it up. He said, no, the theater the closest thing to that is in Fort Lauderdale. I said, dang, bro. So I got to watch it a second time in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Because I watched it in a standard theater. So I was like, man, I got to watch this in a bigger, more audio packed theater, because man, it's just like there's this one scene, bro. I don't want to say nothing really too much, but this one scene, like when you see it happen, you're literally just like, am I believing what I'm watching right now? And it just all makes sense. And it's just like, man, and if you're a lover of music too, you're set. You are set.
And I even, just as far as what you said with symbolism, he incorporated pieces of the culture too, man. There's that one famous painting that I believe it was in Good Times, and Eddie Murphy purchased it from Marvin Gaye's estate when he passed away. And this film is worth several millions, right? The replica of that painting sold for just $15 million like a few years back.
Yeah.
Just a replica. But I think there's an image from the film or whatever that's inspired by that one. And you probably, I don't know the name of the
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about because my parents had something like that.
In a juke joint. It's a
juke joint,
yeah.
My parents had something like that.
Artist, man, but that guy, whoever that artist was, they're definitely going to go down in history. But I know Eddie Murphy is a happy man that he invested in that piece of artwork. But I heard it's just so many ties in to the culture, man. So I'm excited to see it, and I'm glad you brought that up because I need to make that a priority to go check out.
Yeah, bro, go see that. But you talk about that and the culture, and it's Southern culture too. You know, you're Bama, I'm Florida, so there's a lot of narratives to that, and there's so many things that people try to erase. So I'm glad that Kugler threw that in because I learned something about certain demographics in the South. And I was aware of some things, but after watching it, then you read up and listen to all these other theories. There's even stuff on Spotify that kind of goes in depth of the movie. And I was just thinking, man, I got to watch it the second time now because it's crazy. But I can talk about it all day. We can make an episode.
Yeah, man. We digress, man. You got me hyped up, man. I'm ready to watch it now.
But on Easter, man, we just went to my family's house out in Leesburg. The kids had an Easter egg hunt. I had a cousin that cooked up some brisket, made a spring salad. He cooked up some wings. A very straightforward Easter, man. And everybody ate really well. The kids had a good Easter egg hunt and came back and just bathed and got ready for the evening because everything was closed. So it was it wasn't too stressful, surprisingly.
I did say that mine wasn't stressful and it was pretty chill. The Easter egg hunt was very much stressful. Very much so. Not only did I go to it hungry, so I became hangry. And the lines at all the food trucks that I went to, I was out in the Fish Hawk area. Man, it was just hundreds of little rugrats, bro. And just trying to, two-man it out and one parent keep their eye on one kid, the other keep their eye on the other kid. It was a lot going on, man. And the lines for the food trucks were too long, man. Me and my wife were starving. Pretty sure my kids were hungry. They had a good time, man. It was really one of the first times that both my daughters were just they understood the assignment of Easter egg hunting. So it was cool to see. They had a good time. They had a blast. So that's all that matters at the end of the day, man. But I'm glad you had a very nice time with your family. For those that don't know, I'm a believer. So, Jesus is the reason for the season. So he is risen
same here.
On that note. So it's an incredible time to celebrate with your family and the people that you love, man. And, understand the sacrifice for all of our lives, man. So appreciate you, Jesus.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
And real quick, before we move on to the next subject, I want to highlight the shirt you are wearing, the You Are Enough shirt. I love the mental health awareness shirt you got going on.
Let me get y'all the back preview, man.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Let me know if you can see
y'all listening. Yeah. It says, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it. Even though it says better place, the C is missing in place. But it says love the person in front of you."
The compliments I get with this in the airport are fire. Not just compliments, but just people just acknowledging it, man. And I've seen a couple people in the airport that have worn it. I thought that was dope. I literally, this is my shirt that I wear when I'm feeling a little down or I'm feeling some kind of way, but I want to encourage people around me. I think just sharing that little moment of positivity, it goes a long way, man. And it makes me feel better knowing that I made somebody else feel a little better. You know what I mean? So it's a cool concept, man.
Cool. I know I've seen that on TikTok and I've wavered about getting that. So seeing you rock it and seeing how it looks, I'm definitely thinking about getting one myself. It looks nice, man.
What's funny, when I put it on, I asked my wife, I was like, have I worn this shirt on the pod yet? She's like, I don't know. I got to go back and check the YouTubes. So if for the people that are listening, go check us out on YouTube. Let me know if you see any thumbnails where I'm already wearing this shirt, because I very well could have. I've had this shirt for a couple years now. So especially if you just told me one of the C's are missing. So I may need to get a Sharpie or something and like scribble that thing back in there.
Yeah, it says plaque instead of place. So PLAC. And I was like, maybe it's folded. Like, nah, it's missing the E, but everybody gets the point. But much love, man. I love the shirt, man. But there's a topic that you wanted to touch up on that I would definitely want to hear about and learn something. I'll let you take over from here.
Yeah, man. This is just something that I think it holds dear to my heart, and I think it should to you, as well as many of the other listeners that are out there, especially if you have children who will go on to inherit this world that we're living in today. And that's just the future of food, man. I feel like we're in a place where extreme monetization is the goal, extreme profits are the goals, efficiencies are the goals. And one thing that I thought was interesting in 2025 is lab grown meat industry is booming right now in 2025, man. This was something that was breaking news to me. And then I looked, so I started dabbling a little bit more in the stock exchange recently, just trying to be a little more strategic with my investments, right? And I came across a couple of companies. One in particular is Good Meats. This particular company has skyrocketed since 2020 as far as their
I've heard of
investment.
them.
You have?
I've heard
Okay.
of them where you get a package of meat and you just heat it up for a certain amount of time because of different flavors, right?
I'm not familiar with any of their background on what products they already produce, but I know they're putting a ton of money into the lab grown meat portion of their sector of their business. Um, and for those of you who are listening or watching, this may not be something that's of concern right now, but the projections are that by 2050, this will be a $229 billion industry. And this is
You
lab
mean
grown
just
meat.
meats?
No, not just meats, good meats.
Okay, I was thinking of just
Yeah.
meats. Okay, I just pulled it up.
There's a couple other that are like leading the pack when it comes to it. I think there's like two or three that are just really taking off and putting a lot into it. I think the other one was like upside food or something like that. I'm not familiar with them either, but either way, man. And one of the things that's leading this charge, believe it or not, which is something that I utilize a lot, is AI driven cell cultivation. So AI technology is able to like mass produce these genetically modified protein cells at an accelerated rate to where they can pretty much farm raise a steak, a chicken breast, a burger patty at a very rapid rate and get it out to the masses. And already what's crazy, and I think I heard something about this, and I don't want to be misquoted. I hope it ain't Chick-fil-A, but I heard it was a place similar to Chick-fil-A where they just recently just said, oh, you know what? We'll allow it. You know what I mean? I know some select grocery chains have allowed these type of products to be like provided to their grocery store, distributed to their grocery stores. So, and what brought me to this like kind of mindset, my mother-in-law is staying with me. So like it's been I'll say in a pleasant way, it's been an uphill battle to just really articulate my concerns for reading labels and understanding what foods are being brought into my home that are then being, offered to my children. So that's I've worked in sports nutrition, so you already know I'm a consumer analyst. A lot of times I'm not the healthiest. Obviously, y'all know me as Hype Beast Burger Man. So like I'm gonna indulge, but also I'm gonna try to be a little more strict and methodical about the foods that I consume. So yeah, man, it's kind of crazy to think, man, and I just want to have your thoughts on this, man. What are your thoughts? Because we've shared our thoughts on vegetarian-based diets or plant-based diets. But what are your thoughts about our kids potentially living in a world where it is completely okay for them to just eat this fabricated, lab-grown, produced meat that's now it's most likely when it does happen, especially if these corporations are already putting millions and millions of dollars into it, they see it having a future. Right now, the only hurdles are regulations and skepticism. But like I've my thoughts before I get your take on it. we already know there is an influx of people that are a little more soft when it comes to like being humane and not don't kill the animals, don't slaughter. And I understand some slaughterhouses are probably horrible conditions, right? I'm not naive to that, but the potential that our kids will be eating science projects as their everyday source of protein when they go to a grocery store, when they go to a restaurant, is mind-blowing to me, and I'm not really a fan of it. And I think it's a topic that should be talked about before it gets too big and it's too late. What's your take?
It's definitely it's a scary topic, bro. That's something that you think how our parents were raised off of, especially my mom. My mom grew up on a farm, so did my dad. So they ate what was outside. And now when science gets involved and people want to make things more convenient, it's not as natural when things are man-made. So it's scary to think that our kids are going to grow up and the standard is going to be man-made foods. You can't trust that stuff because great point, a great topic or a great subject to bring up along that is my cousin's really starting to get into a health kick, like looking at ingredients. And he points out how you can go look at two different maple syrups and one will say ingredients A, B, C, D, moxicillin, high fructose sugar, blah, blah, blah. And one would just say maple syrup.
Yeah.
Same with peanut butter. One has 20 ingredients, the other has 10. And the 10 you can read, the 20 you can read 3 out of the 20 ingredients, 3 out of the 20 because the other 17 are some big crazy words. So we're coming on scary times where people are looking at convenience instead of what's being put into that convenience for us that's really going to kill us.
Yeah. And to that point, man, my wife and mom were just having a conversation about, Walmart's produce, it lasts longer than Aldi. And they were using this, and I was like, genetically modified. It's kind of like the whole concept where Burger King's clapped back at McDonald's. They set a Whopper out, and it molded, it deteriorated, it decomposed. Whereas the McDonald's burger, it was like an ancient dinosaur. The thing looked exactly the same from the day it was left out to 90 days later, which is crazy, right? And I think about that, and I chimed in. I was like, that's because it's genetically modified. Anytime you see a 4 or a 3 as the initial digits on those little codes on the sticker of your apple or banana or piece of fruit produce, 4 and the 3 is some form of genetically modified or chemically incorporated, like pesticides, whatever the case may be. 4 or 3, just remember that. And I think there's a couple other numbers that are involved in that mix. And each pre-numeral symbolizes certain things, whether it's pesticides or chemicals, or it was genetically modified or made in a laboratory versus the organic stuff. It's crazy times, man. It's crazy times.
Yeah, and what makes it even crazier is in order to eat something organic or more natural, you got to pay more for that alone. I literally tried something different for my daughter because it was waffles to promote gut health versus eating the standard Eggos that have no value to it. And she liked one brand, she liked one flavor of it, and then I tried another one, and then she's like, no. Granted, she likes fruits and vegetables, but now it's like, oh, make sure she eats the right ones. That's something you got to consider now. that's and again, scary times.
Even when it comes down to the Eggo waffles, I flipped that script a long time ago. Like, and I try to tell my mother-in-law as well as my mom and my wife, when we look at grocery shopping, I'm like, the Eggo waffle of yesteryears is not the same Eggo waffle of today. You know what I mean? These companies technology has boomed, same, like they literally can recreate a steak or a filet or a T-bone, probably not a T-bone, maybe boneless stuff like that. So like they've gotten a little more, tech savvy with whipping up these artificial waffles, and now they're more artificial and super processed more than ever now. So with that being said, like I try to look, like I love Kodiak I don't know if you've tried those.
Kodiak cakes.
Yeah, Kodiak pancakes and
Uh-huh.
waffles. So they have a mix. You can find them at most grocery stores. But they kind of started as a small protein-based waffle pancake company. So I've tried them. I need to revisit their actual macros and supplement panel because I'm sure it's probably a little more processed, but it's better than going Eggo, in my opinion, just based on comparison. But a buddy of mine, man, he works with PE Science. And they're based out here in Tampa. He gave me their select protein waffles, which is a protein-based waffle. Man, he gave me the big bag, bro. And I just finished it. Like I've had it for it lasts me like maybe a month. But man, my kids loved it, man. And it was packed with 20 grams of protein per serving. And I would just make a bunch of little medallion protein pancakes, man, and just get my girls like 4 or 5 of them in the morning and knock them out. Loved them. Hit them with the sugar-free syrup. They loved it, man. So there's so many things that I feel like we got to be conscious of, but there's always an alternative. But the key is, like you said, and like you've done with your trial and error with your daughter, is just finding the right thing to like transform to. You know what I mean? Like what's going to be the best conversion? Because the thing is just like going from turkey bacon to regular bacon, man. It don't always hit the same, you know?
Yeah. And to that point, remember when we were growing up and then we eat something that religiously, and then we get older and we're like, oh man, I want to try this again. Because as a kid, I liked it. And you're like, man, it doesn't taste like it used to. Oh, your taste buds change or you matured. You got to put into the argument. Maybe it's not made the same either.
It's not, man. That's a good point. Because I think our first inclination is to say, my taste buds have matured. Maybe they developed.
Yeah.
Like, these things are too sweet for me now. Nah, they're just made different, maybe, or they got a whole bunch of chemicals in them now. And It's bad, man. It's scary to see, man. And the FDA, fun fact, I noticed working in the supplement industry. Not this brand, of course. This brand is immaculate. But the FDA.
Shameless plug.
Man. This panel right here, the FDA allows about 80% inaccuracy. That's any brand, any product, any consumer good. 80% inaccuracy. So it can be off by a couple on every little bar or every line that you see, whether it's the sugars, the carbs, the fats, the ingredients that are actually inside. It can be off slightly on all those percentages. Because at the end of the day, you got to think about it. It's a robot dumping everything into the packages, whether it's the ketchup packet or this or that. And so like there's so many inaccuracies, but the FDA just allows it. So like it's really scary. And then this president of ours, he's cut some funding on some government funding. So there's a lot of corporations that aren't even getting tested at all. If it hasn't already been implemented, it's due to get implemented pretty soon to where they don't even have the personnel because the funding cuts to even analyze and critique. Oh, this is solid. This is what you say it is, or this is just some straight bullshit. Go ahead and feed it to the people. That's the world we living in right now.
Yeah, that unfortunately ties up, man. I mean, if y'all are listening in, make sure y'all tap in on this conversation and what y'all thoughts and opinions are on this because, a lot of us having kids nowadays, that's something we got to consider. I know a lot of people like to watch what we feed our kids, but we understand at times, sometimes you got to get something quick to them, especially when they're picky eaters. We know most kids are picky eaters. So
we're all guilty.
I do believe it's scary times. Exactly. It's only human nature, man. But you got anything else to chime up on with that topic or anything else?
No, man. I just want the world to stay prepared, be safe, stay dangerous, read, take care of your mental health, but take care of your temple too. Do a little exercise. We love food. I said this on my story today, man. Let's prioritize our health just as much as we prioritize the foods that we love to indulge in. So, everything is good in balance and in moderation. So y'all stay blessed out there. Stay healthy, please. I hope this conversation added a little value, maybe opened some minds a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, man. But thank you for bringing that topic up because that's something that should be talked about with anybody, especially in a day and age where most people don't want to cook. They just want to grab something quick. And even bringing something home to heat up real quick, that's still along the same context of that. You were doing something great at your house that you told me before, and you mentioned this on the pod, in which you're growing your own fruits with your daughter. And I saw you
Yeah.
had you guys had a strawberry. So
Yeah, so that's just one of a few. So we've had a few
yeah,
already, man. They're pretty good, bro. Like I was actually a skeptic. I was like, I don't know about this, but man, that first strawberry that I tried, like my wife pulled some because I was out of town when the first handful had actually were ripened, and she loved them, man. They're no different from the store. Actually, smaller though, but they taste good. They're perfectly fine, man. So I would encourage that, man. And you come from a farming family, man. So if you got some tips, man, shoot me some tips, man. I need to get on it, man. I want to actually build more.
yeah. I got to pick my cousin's brain because he's doing it right now, and he's the one that has the yard and the space to do it. And my dad talked about doing that too because he has some chickens, but he wants to get us some more spots to start his own fruit grove. So we'll see what that brings in the coming year, man. But I got nothing else on my side. If y'all made it this far to the episode, thank y'all so much. Make sure you're
Appreciate
following us
y'all.
on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Podchasers, Apple Podcasts, giving us a listen. And stay tuned for the next one. I got nothing left on my side. Peace. Much love. See you on the next one.
Peace, world. You're enough.